You've probably heard me talking about this self-sufficient living skills bundle that's been going on. And I have been spending the last week flipping through so many of the incredible resources within this bundle. Now, I will say there's a lot. There's over 118 different ebooks and courses and lessons sharing incredible wisdom and knowledge with you so you can live off the land and you don't have to rely on this corrupt and broken system for everything for your family. Anyways, I wanted to share some of my favorite things. One, first off, is off-grid homeopathy. This course is loaded with so much incredible knowledge, talking about homeopathy for first aid, for colds and flu, how to make your own homeopathic remedies. Like, as an herbalist who loves to teach that stuff, that's pretty exciting to hear it in the homeopathy realm. There's also some incredible fermentation guides, so many other amazing herbal recipes and food recipes, and how to make your own sourdough bread, how to do your own organic gardening and canning of all of your foods. Really, there is so much. And yes, I know. I've talked about it a ton, but this entire bundle is only $50 right now until Sunday, March 24th. I'm sharing my herbal first aid skills, which is a course that's $47 on its own. I'm sharing recipes that I used when I got my products into REI for herbal first aid kits and so much more. You'll have to check it out. I'm serious. Like, you can absolutely change your life with this bundle. So there is a link in the show notes for you, and I hope you check it out. I hope you take advantage. Don't worry, you don't have to go through everything right away. You can access everything for up to a year. Once you're in the course or have the download, it's yours for life. It is a steal of a deal. Okay, self-sufficient living skills bundle in the links for you. Hello and welcome to the Herbalist Path podcast. I'm your host, Mel Mutterspaugh. I'm a clinical herbalist, environmental educator, founder and formulator of an herbal products company called Mountain Mel's Essential Goods. And my most important role in life is being the mother of a beautiful young daughter. I also have this crazy passion for teaching people to use plants as medicine in a safe and effective way. Herbalism is the most sustainable way to take care of yourself, your family, the plants, and our precious planet. In this podcast, you'll get a mix of interviews with fellow herbalists, herb farmers, product makers, herbal educators, clinicians, and plain old plant geekin' herb nerds similar to myself. You'll also get some episodes where it's just me dishing you some great info on how you can safely use herbs for yourself and your family. It's an honor to have you here and joining in on a serious mission to inspire a movement where there's an herbalist in every home, again. Did you know that your kitchen cabinet is filled with some of the absolute best medicine around? It's true. The things you commonly cook with on a day-to-day basis are packed with medicinal properties that many of us today completely forget about. So if you'd like to learn more and discover the medicines inside your kitchen cabinet, head over to theherbalistpath.com/cold flu busters. And you can get my free cold and flu busters from your kitchen cabinet guide. It's got over 15 different herbs that you use on a regular basis, why they're great medicine for the human body, and a special little recipe for each and every plant we talk about. Again, that's theherbalistpath.com/cold flu busters. Enjoy! Hello, my Herbalist Path friends. It's been a while since I've gotten an episode out to you, and I apologize, but I've been busy on the back end with our new students in the Herbs for Immune Health course and just really getting my Mountain Mel's business ready for the holidays and all of the things. But I am so excited to finally have a new episode for you. And I figured since it's that time of year here in the States where it's so nice to cozy up around a crackling fire with some fuzzy socks and the softest blankets you've got around. And it's also the time of year when we look to warming herbs to not only flavor our foods, especially all of those yummy holiday treats, but also to warm our bodies from the inside out. And the good news is that, believe it or not, many of the herbs you use to make those Christmas cookies, yummy breads, pumpkin pie, and all the other holiday treats actually have some health benefits to them. So today, I thought I'd share one of my absolute favorite warming herbs that's always a hit throughout this time of year. And one reason I love it is because it's not only really good for your taste buds and your kiddos' taste buds, but it's great for digestion and great for your heart and so much more, as we'll uncover throughout the podcast. And so the herb I'm talking about, if you haven't guessed it already, is cinnamon. And it is such a cool herb. It's actually one of the oldest spices known to man. At one point in history, cinnamon was considered to be more precious than gold. And in ancient Egypt, it was not only used for flavoring of beverages, but it was also used as an embalming agent, which is really interesting to think about. And then cinnamon was actually mentioned in one of the earliest books in Chinese botanical medicine that dates back to around 2700 BC. And a first century Roman emperor, Nero, he was said to have burned a year's supply of cinnamon at his wife's funeral pyre, just as a gesture to show the depth of the pain of his loss. And as cinnamon grew in popularity, it became one of the first commodities that was regularly traded between Europe and the Near East. But one thing that I think is super cool that most people never think about is where cinnamon comes from. Because it certainly doesn't come from a 2-ounce jar at the grocery store, and it doesn't come powdered. In fact, it actually comes from Sri Lanka. It's also grown in India and around Asia. And it's certainly, as I said, not powdered. It's actually the bark of a tree, right? I think that's so crazy to think about after so many years of just, seeing cinnamon in the grocery store. So what they do, they peel the bark of the tree, and then as the bark starts to dry, it curls up into those little tubes that we love to see so much. And these tiny little tubes are actually, there's a name for them. They're called quills. So the next time you see a cinnamon quill in your beverage or on top of your fancy holiday dish, think about that beautiful tree it came from. Think about the farmers who harvested it. And thank those trees and thank those farmers and thank that little quill because it's come a long way for you. I love that. I love to think about that. And I also love to think about the fact that there is a ton of medicinal properties to cinnamon. So since around this time of year, we tend to binge on lots of foods, some not so good for us. It's kind of nice to know that cinnamon is actually really beneficial for your digestive health. It warms your digestive system up and it stimulates the digestive process to work a little bit better. And it also acts as a carminative, so it's going to really help ease gassiness and bloating. As I record this, it's Wednesday before Thanksgiving Day, so I know I'm going to need some cinnamon tomorrow. So, Think about that. And you can use cinnamon as a tea. And when you do, it can be really cooling and soothing to the digestive tract. It actually acts as what's called a demulcent herb. So it's going to be super helpful if you're someone who deals with indigestion or just abdominal cramping. Maybe you've got a case of diarrhea. It's got some astringent properties there as well. It can be really, really helpful. And again, it does a great job of stimulating circulation to the digestive system, as well as throughout your extremities. So if you are somebody who tends to have cold fingers and toes often, cinnamon might be a great friend for you to bring on board because it'll help warm you up from the inside out and bring more blood flow to your extremities. And if you're someone who suffers from joint pain and muscle pain when it's really cold out, I would highly recommend you add more cinnamon to your life. It's actually one of the reasons I use it in one of my absolute favorite blends I make over at Mountain Mel's. It's called Tea Line because I actually crafted the blend for historic Timberline Lodge, which sits up at about 6,000 feet on my home mountain of Mount Hood in Oregon. It's incredibly beautiful, and it's often super duper cold. Picture the outside image of The Shining and that really cool building buried in snow. That's Timberline Lodge. And so when I named Tea Line, people around my community tend to call Timberline Tea Line for short. So it's a perfect name. Anyways, I made this blend just to feel as glorious as a fresh powder day as you're slashing down the mountain, and to warm you up from the inside out, like cozying up to a fire in that incredibly gorgeous lodge. Anyway, that was a quick little tangent on Tea Line because it's truly an amazing tea, and it does have the power of cinnamon and many other plant friends inside of it. And gosh, oh golly, does it happify the taste buds. So back to cinnamon. Cinnamon can also be really helpful if you are dealing with a cold or an infection in the respiratory tract that has you really stuffy and congested. So it can help as an expectorant and help move that stuck congestion. And it can also be really helpful if you've got a cold or the flu or you've got a fever, because a nice cup of hot cinnamon tea is going to provide that cooling it's a warming herb, but it's going to be coating is a better word for the respiratory tract, and give you a little relief there. But it also is a diaphoretic, so it's going to help support your body in the process of fever. So that's what diaphoretic herbs do. They allow you to release heat and toxins through the process of sweating. So I'm going to take a quick break right here and give you a little message from our sponsor. Still looking for that perfect gift that the outdoor and nature-loving persons on your list will absolutely love? Have no fear, because Mountain Mel's has got you covered. We have 3 new awesome gift kits. We've got our Healthy Hiker Kit, our Happy Camper Kit, and the Après Snow Play Kit for the snow-loving adventurers on your list. Each one of these kits is curated with the perfect outdoor essentials to keep your loved ones safe, happy, and healthy as they're out exploring nature. And not only that, they're better for them, they're better for the planet too. So you can check out these kits over at mountainmels.com, look up our collections of bundles and kits, and feel good about the gifts you are giving this year. Thanks. So, good little message, eh?
Cinnamon has also got great benefits for the cardiovascular system and heart health. So it's actually been shown to lower glucose, cholesterol, and insulin levels. It can be an incredible addition to your diet, particularly if you're somebody with prediabetes, insulin resistance, or even type 2 diabetes. And the sad and scary reality is that here in the United States, over 30% of our population has insulin resistance or prediabetes and doesn't even know. So perhaps we should be making more of these meals and treats with tons of cinnamon and a tad less sugar in there, yeah? Anyways, those heart healthy benefits are one of the reasons I use cinnamon in my hibiscus heart song blend. So according to a brilliant naturopath who teaches at the local naturopathic college in Portland, Oregon, National University of Natural Medicine, Tori Hudson, she's an educator and an author as well. She says that hawthorn and hibiscus can produce really powerful results when it comes to congestive heart failure and hypertension. And I like to think you add a little bit of cinnamon in there and you get even tastier results with the added heart and digestive health benefits that cinnamon provides. But let's not forget, one of the coolest things about cinnamon is that it is a magnificent food. And when we can make food our medicine, then we are winning. So when you're making all of your holiday yumminess, be sure to add some extra cinnamon to your recipes. I usually add about 4 to 5 times what the recipe calls for, similar to how I do with garlic in some of my more savory dishes. And then I figured it would be fun to share with you one of my favorite heart-healthy recipes I love to make. It is a blueberry cinnamon shrub, and it is so delicious, especially if you're going to like holiday parties, but you don't want to drink alcohol. You still want something tasty. You can make this shrub and feel dynamite about it. So all you need is a pen right now to listen to what I'm saying. Pause it and grab a pen if you need to. But when you're ready to unpause with that pen and some notes, you're going to want 1 cup of raw apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of blueberries. You can use frozen. That's what I do in the wintertime. You're going to use 1 cup of sugar. I like to use honey in place just to have a healthier sugar. You could maybe even substitute maple syrup, but honey is going to add a great flavor. Then you're going to do 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. I like to add in the quills, so I'll do like 3 or 4 quills just for that extra cinnamon boost. And because I absolutely love hawthorn, I add in a 1/2 cup of hawthorn berries as well. So you're going to start the process. You're just going to heat the sugar and the vinegar on the stove. Stir it consistently until your sugar is dissolved. And then you're going to add your blueberries and any herbs and spices and allow it to simmer to release the juices and the flavors into the syrup. Then you're going to cool that mixture and strain out any of the solids. Use a wire mesh strainer or a cheesecloth, whatever you may need. And then store it in a clean glass jar or a bottle and decide if you want more sugar or vinegar and drink it. I love to drink a little bit of the shrub, like about an ounce or so, with about 5 to 6 ounces of soda water over ice. It's really a beautiful drink and it's so tasty. You can garnish it with one of those gorgeous cinnamon quills. So one of the great things, other than like this is a fancy mocktail and it's really great for your heart health, but it's also great for digestive health too. And it keeps the taste buds happy. So if the taste buds aren't happy, then nobody's happy, right? Then the herbs don't get to do their job because you're not drinking them. So it's so much fun to get creative with your recipes and ways to use these plants as medicine and food. So I really hope you try this recipe. And if you do, just please take a picture of it. Tag me on the social medias at The Herbalist Path. Shoot me an email, mel@theherbalistpath.com, and let me know what you think. And do bring it to your holiday parties, because then you're going to be the cool person feeling nice and classy, and you're not going to be all drunk and sloppy. So back to more cinnamon. As you go about hunting for all of the cinnamon and ways you can use it, it's really important to note that there's about 100 different varieties of cinnamon. So the most common ones you see here in the States are Cinnamomum cassia, which is what's going to be on most grocery store shelves. There's also a Ceylon cinnamon, and it's a touch sweeter than the cassia, and the cassia is a bit more spicy. So you might want to consider using it in like curry dishes and things like that. And when it comes to their medicinal properties, you can use either or, but when it comes to your taste buds, play with it and see what you like. And of course, there is just a small word of caution and areas to be careful when it comes to excessive cinnamon use. Sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? But women who are pregnant should not be doing large medicinal doses of cinnamon. That doesn't mean that mama can't indulge in some of those holiday treats and drink the yummy stuff. Just don't go taking like 6 grams of cinnamon a day. And also, if you are on blood thinners, you probably want to avoid cinnamon in medicinal doses, because it is also a blood thinner and it might increase the effects more of your pharmaceutical blood thinners than you desire. So again, little side note for me, this information is here for you to explore lots of different plants. But remember that your body is different. Your body's different from anybody else's body. So it's really important to pay attention and to know that I'm not sharing this with you as medical advice. I do encourage you to work with a healthcare practitioner for that. On that note, if you love learning about this stuff, I highly encourage you to head over and grab my free downloadable guide all about cold and flu busters inside your kitchen cabinet. If you have not grabbed it yet, please do, because I share lots of herbs that you likely have hanging around, talk about their medicinal benefits, and I share a really tasty recipe for each one. So if you, my friend, enjoyed this podcast, please do me a favor. Show me some love by giving me a 5-star review and share it with your friends and your family so that we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Herbalist Path. Being on this journey with you is absolutely incredible. If you dig this episode, please leave me a review on your favorite podcast player and share it with your friends so that together we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. On another note, I must mention that while I know you're getting some good info here, it's important to remember that this podcast is purely for entertainment and educational purposes and is not intended to be a substitute for medical treatment. While the information in this podcast is absolutely relevant, herbs work differently for each person and each condition. That's why I recommend you work with a qualified practitioner, whether that be another herbalist, a naturopath, or your doctor. So thank you again. I am truly honored that you're tuning into these episodes and on the path with me to make sure that there's an herbalist in every home again. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends so that we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. It has been so much fun and so, joyous watching all of my medicinal plant friends popping up in my garden, from the elecampane to the comfrey and the arnica. I love seeing these friends pop up. And if you are still trying to decide what to grow in your medicinal herb garden, you've got to grab my guide. It's all about the most essential herbs that every mom should know and should grow. So I teach you how to grow them and the many different ways that you can use them. If you want to grab the guide, go ahead. It's free, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of delight and use out of it. And there's a link to it in the show notes. I'm wishing you tons of happy medicine planting.